This game is rated M for mature. It may contain blood and gore, intense violence, strong language, mature humor, nudity, strong sexual content, use of drugs and alcohol. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello everyone and welcome back to more Tokyo Babel. Here we are, meeting the demon god Astaroth. It was either that or the angel, I forget his name. Astaroth just stuck with me because it's a cool name. But yeah, here we go. We're gonna meet this guy. Hopefully he's nice. We're in kind of a school area. We're like in a school building, which is I haven't quite understood it yet, but you know what? We're gonna
Liris?
I was about to join Sarami and ask him what she was up to, but the moment Lilith opened the door, all became clear. Boy, look at this place. Can anyone say gloomy? The room, once filled with dozens of students, had transformed into a cramped, dimly lit office. A man sat at the massive ebony desk in the middle, casually resting his feet on its surface.
Liris ni Raziel. そして、おや、君か。
The man's features reflected youth, yet compared to us, who were still in our teens, he was unmistakably an adult. He appeared to be in his mid-20s, the emphasis being on appeared. After all, Lilith and Raziel themselves were several thousands of years old. Who knows how old this guy is? The black and white suit he wore looked oddly fitting on him, potentially because of its accentuated the dichotomy he stood for. His status varied depending on which grimoire one consulted. Yet all agreed he was the high-ranking demon lord. And Fromholtz is sending me a message. Thank you, Fromholtz. He could certainly be counted among the three most powerful beings living here, the other two being Kamel and Belial.
Astaroth, 何か変化はあった？
あればここで立ち止まったりするものか。ないよ。天国への門は変わらず閉ざされ、地獄は水没。この浮遊する煉獄は明日をも知れぬ状態だ。
That doesn't sound like you enjoyed getting these questions.
切羽詰まってはないのね。
I'm sure it's going just peachy.
いつだって切羽詰まっているようなものだがね。それで、その人間はどうしたのかね。もう一方は少し前にあった。Don't mind me.
Just carry on with what you were doing.
まあ、彼女はくぐつ空見。くぐつ空見みたいです。よろしくお願いします。
ああ。ゲテルの瞳を継承してしまったという人間か。俺を見ることで強大な力の流れに慣れておこうという魂胆だな。
そういうこと。で、空見、アスタロトを見た感想はどう？
He's very intimidating. Sarami narrowed her eyes.
なんか分裂している感じに見える。男と女に。
You're saying he's like asexual? I'm like...
ああ、俺の原点は女神イシュタルでもあるからな。おそらくその因子が混じり合っているのだろうよ。
You look like a woman.
おかま
I immediately felt a sudden near volcanic surge of murderous intent in the room. Ooh. So, don't call the Lord of Demons or whatever he is a crossdresser. That's bad. Astaroth himself was smiling. He doesn't look smiling to me.
俺の息は毒を持っているが、試してみるか。地上でも未発見。
Wow.
エボラも核やというアウトブレイクっぷりだ。
Well, how are we not all dead right now? That's a serious question. Why am I not dead? I mean, Lilith I can understand. She's like a goddess or whatever. I'm sure she just can't die. But I don't know.
申し訳ありません。私が悪うございました。
Jeez. Stormy lowered herself in a perfectly aligned kneeling position.
素早いな。まあいい。許そう。
Just don't breathe on me.
よし、許された。
Score. It almost seems like her apology wasn't even meant. It wasn't heartfelt. Surami pushed herself erect and assumed a victory pose.
魔王相手にたくましいわね、空見ては。いいことだけど。さて、それじゃあ次は人間たちを見てみましょうか。
ならば、このリストを持っていけ。
List? Astaroth produced a list from the drawer of his desk, then tossed it in Lilith's direction.
おお。ひょっとして行方不明になった巡礼者たちのリスト？カーマエルからもらおうと思っていたけどちょうどいいわ。Thank you.
Thank you. A list of missing pilgrims.
リリス、少し悪魔同士で話し合いたいことがあるのだが、いいかな？
Oh, what could it be?
それってラジエル抜きでってこと？
そうだ。
Lilith threw a quick glance in Raziel's direction. The angel let out a drowsy yawn, seemingly on the verge of nodding off.
いいわ。ラジエル、ちょっと席外してちょうだいな。先に帰って寝る。おやすみ。
Astaroth's like, we're totally going to take over heaven. It's gonna happen. Raziel waved us goodbye and sleepily staggered out of the room. I'm assuming that we have to leave as
空
well.
見と刹那は残っていてちょうだい。
We're not demons. We're not. We shouldn't be here. Look at him. He's upset. He's disturbed. He doesn't want us to be here. Look at his eyes. He doesn't want us to be here. I can see him shooting daggers.
二人は天使じゃないでしょ？それに、刹那は私が召喚した存在だから問題ないと思うけど。
仕方あるまい。さて、率直に問うぞ。お前はアダムの一件に関わっているのか？
Lilith's expression darkened in an instant, which Sarami took as her cue to hastily retreat all the way back to the entrance. A heavy atmosphere of undiluted animosity descended upon the room. A gust of unchained bloodlust ripened to preposterous heights, enough to make one's skin crawl. And its source was Lilith herself. She was directing it at Astaroth, who bore the full brunt of her monstrous aura. All that Sarami and I received from the side was but a gentle breeze compared to its full intensity. If a mere fragment of her aura could have such an effect on us, its full brunt would no doubt outright liquefy the average person.
舐めてんの？アスタロと。よりによって、私が関わる？冗談にしては思いっきり笑えないわ。
Of course not, because I wasn't laughing.
その反応でよしとしよう。だが俺の発言も無理からぬことだと思え。アダムを一番知っているのはイブを除けば君だ。
Wonder what Adam has to do with all this. Lilith covered her face with a palm. She ground her teeth and would have even produced a massive bulging vein on her temple had this been a scene from a manga. But this is not a manga, this is a visual novel. It's practically the same thing, but hey. The temperature in the room up to this point was bordering on the Arctic and now felt akin to having a bucket of liquid nitrogen splashed on one's face.
あのね、アスタロと。魔王になって幾年月。私の前であの男の話題を口にするときは細心の注意を払うことって習わなかったね。
A violent chill rushed up my spine as the atmosphere in the room turned oppressive and near suffocating. As for Sarami,
おにぎり食べたい。
way to be oblivious there, alright. She appeared to have completely blocked out her surroundings. A sound decision all in all.
魔王が習うかよ、そんなもの。
No, not really.
ああ、そう。なら教育してあげるわ。
I had better stop them. This could be bad.
リリス、悪いんだがその辺でやめてくれないか。空見が現実から逃避しちゃってるし。
She could just be really airheaded.
というかそもそも君怒ってないだろ。
殺したいほど怒ってるわよ。何が忌々しいって、あなたが私を止めるかどうかのリトマス試験紙扱いにされたのが一番ムカつくわ。
Are they gonna throw down right in this room? I mean, this is not a good environment to have a fight in. I mean, what about the poor plants? There would just be casualties in all of this.
はあ、なんだつまらない。分かっていたのなら乗らないでほしいものだ。
Both let out a sigh.
アスタロと私にとってアダムはね、名前を聞いただけでプッツン切れるほどの爆薬なわけ。
Was that an audiobook?
まあ、天使が作ったというアダムに関わったかどうかで言えば、ほんの少しだけ関わったわ。
ほう、意外だな。
That is.
いいえ、意外でもなんでもないわ。天使がアダムを作るって言うから、私はこう伝えたのよ。同じ顔にするとぶち殺したくなるから顔は違うやつにしろってね。
Astaroth giggled jovially.
なるほどな。あの男の顔がまるで違うのは、それが理由だったのか。
それ以降は関わってないから知らないけど、アダムの顔はそんなに前と違うの？
顔だけじゃなく、中身も相当いじくり回したらしいな。これまで天使と悪魔の間で繰り広げられた戦闘記憶を全部ぶち込んだらしい。
Okay. Well, then he stumbled over her words in surprise. This new piece of information was shocking enough to quell what little anger she may have had left.
数千年に及ぶ戦闘データすべてだ。我々魔王も疑いたくなるだろう。このタイミングでアーマゲドンを引き起こそうとしているかもしれないとな。
ちょっと待って。アダムは確かにランクとしては聖人と天使の中間にいる人間よ。
Apparently this Adam is no saint.
だけど数千年の戦闘データ、そんなもの脳をフルに使ったところで許容できるものじゃないでしょう。
イブ。
Eve? What about Eve? The name made Lilith's expression undergo a swift change.
イブ？なんでイブの名前が出てくるの？
Astaroth couldn't help but sigh.
何も知らないのかね。いや、意図的に知ろうとしなかったわけか。天使たちが震災の時、イブを連れていたのは知っているだろう。
Well, where'd they take her?
そこ。
天使たちはイブの設定を変更した。戦闘データは彼女が保管していて、アダムは好きな時にそれを引きずり出す。
That's a good tag team right there.
そう。イブなら可能ね。
イブは神が作りし完全な人間だ。戦闘能力は皆無とはいえ、数千年の戦闘データごとき、彼女にとっては何でもないだろうな。
壊れる可能性は？
天使たちは何重ものセーフティーロックを施してあるとか語っていたが、果たしてどこまで本当なのやら。
I imagine that safety lock is probably going to be broken at some point.
いずれ
Not
にせよ、
already.
壊れてしまえばこちらの不安も片付くがね。アダムを3度作ることは誰にもできん。
そう。それでアスタロと何が狙い？セツナとアダムを殺し合わせたいあたりかしら。
Man, I really shouldn't have stayed in this room.
アホ。現状の手詰まりな状態でそこまで愚かな行為には走らんよ。第一、バベルで歯を唱えてどうする？砂場の王を気取る子供にはなる。
See, this guy gets it.
俺は。
He's not the guy who would want to like destroy the earth because, I mean, what's the point then? What would you rule over? A bunch of ruins and crumbling cities? No one wants that. That's just depressing. Lilith and Astaroth exchange intense glare. For the time being, I decided to check up on Sarami. Her mind once again rooted in reality, she observed the two demons' verbal confrontation in a state of complete awe.
腹に一物抱えた者同士の語り合いって燃えるわ。
This isn't a field trip, Sarami. There's serious business talk going on
空
here.
見は本当にタフだね。
あね。でもセツナもそう思うでしょ。
I looked back at Lilith, at her clothes to be more specific.
ジャージ姿で腹の探り合いというのもちょっとどうかと思う。
ダメ、それは言っちゃダメだよ。
The clothes make the person, right?
この辺でやめておくか。
Yeah.
そうね。まあ最終的な着地点が同じであれば無駄な足の引っ張り合いはないと信じたいところね。
もちろんだとも。ではさようなら。君たちの巡礼に幸あらんことを。
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Lilith vanished in the doorway with Sarami in tow. Astaroth called out to me just as I was about to follow them out.
君はリリスを信用しているのかね？
それはまあ
Do I trust Lilith?
信用しないとどうにもなりませんから。
Astaroth's lips curved into a wicked smile.
やめておけ。夜の魔女は君をゴミくずのようにすりつぶしても何とも思わんぞ。
Oh, we know that already. We actually got a pack of papers that said that, you know, this was an inevitability. But honestly, what more could we do? We were in a ruined world. Better than nothing, right? I detected a hint of pleasure in his tone, which was most likely what made me want to be frank with him.
構わない。私はそれで一向に構わない。利用され、すりつぶされるなら、むしろ本望だ。
I had made my intentions clear, with the gaze cold in the coldest of winters.
意見は変わらずか。いや結構、大いに結構。ではその息で東京バベルに挑んでくれたまえ。
では、失礼。
だが少年、そうであるならば、ますますリリスには気をつけろ。何？彼女はそんなお前すら変えてしまう最強の魔女なのさ。
So Lilith, you know, may not be all she seems. I left the room without uttering another word as Astaroth looked on, his smile never once wavering.
あら、遅かったわね。
リリスを信用するなって。
アスタロトさんも人が悪いな。リリスさんこんなにいい人な
That's
の
her
に。
angle. That's how she entraps people. Her kindness draws them in. Catch more flies with honey and whatnot.
いや、そこまでいいやつかしら私。これでも世間的には夜の魔女ってブイブイ言わせてたんだけど。
That was an awfully peculiar way of putting it.
夕食の唐揚げが一つ余ったら黙って譲ってくれるくらいにいい人だよ、リリスさんは。絶対や。
I thought she wouldn't.
じゃあ悪い悪魔だ。
Jeez.
唐揚げを譲るか譲らないかで私の善悪は決まるの。そんなもんだよ、人間なんて。おーい、遠い目して何を悟ってんのかな。それ以前に私は悪魔、それも夜の魔女なんだぞ。
You're wearing a tracksuit. You're not very intimidating at the moment.
ねえねえリリス、魔王だぞ、偉いんだぞってお子様っぽい声で言ってみて。魔王だぞ、偉いんだぞ、強いんだぞ、ベーダベーダ。
Okay, now I'm never gonna be able to take her seriously.
かわいい。もてあそばれた。
More like thoroughly deceived. Ugh. Lilith took the list in one hand, declaring she'd investigate some other people on it, then trotted off. She also had Sarami accompany her, leaving me alone in the hallway. Well, now what was I to do now?
お呼びですか、アスタロト様。
Man, look at that guy. He looks so posh. I bet he's British. Probably British. Or at least used to be, maybe. A monocled elderly man slithered out of the shadows, blanketing one corner of the room.
ルキフグス、天使たちの様子はどうだ？
個人ではなく全体
His
で
name
し
is
ょうか。
Lucifuge. That is an awesome name.
全体だ。
All of them.
やはり我々と変わりませんな。混乱からの立て直しに力を注いでいる状態です。もっとも向こうは四大天使の行方がわからない以上、カマエルが取り仕切ってますね。
カマエルか。あいつは行動原理が単純な分やりにくいな。
買収が効くタイプでもありませんしな。
天使の側で誰かが裏で動いているはずだ。カマエルは避け、パワーあたりから探ってみてくれ。
We still gotta meet Kameo, don't we?
承知いたしました。
I think he was one of the choices. Either Astaroth or Kameo, and I picked Astaroth because he sounded cooler. Lucifuge honored his master with a respectful bow, then, mimicking the way in which he had first appeared, retreated back towards the corner of the room, ultimately melting into the shadows. That is awesome. Astaroth allowed himself a brief soliloquy upon confirming that his servant was gone.
不思議だ。ルシファーもベルゼバブも消えて、俺が地獄の頂点に立ったというのに。
Damn.
俺だけが生きて歯を唱えることができたというのに。
Talk about a burden, right?
くだらんな。くだらなすぎる。歯など虚しいだけ。とはいえ、この東京バベルを他の誰かに任せることなどできはしない。彼との約束は守らなければならないからな。
Astaroth exhaled yet another sigh, one longer and deeper than all those preceding it. It had been a busy day, but at the end of it, we all regrouped at the night duty room. Razia looked like she was ready to doze off at any second, though.
あー、目がしばしばする。ねえねえ、せつな、目薬とか持ってない？
Thoroughly exhausted, Tsurami threw herself on top of a tatami mat. Having to continuously use her powers during the day must have placed a considerable burden on her. As for the eye drops,
ないな。すまない。
ありゃ。ねえラジエル、人間用の目薬持ってない？悪魔用でも天使用でもないやつね。天使用のしかないけど、ダメ？
guess
いや
so.
天使の目薬だとありがたみがありすぎて目が潰れそうなのさ。
Why do angels need eye drops?
あなたの瞳はゲテルのものに交換されているんだから。
Oh, that's
安
true.
心して天使の目薬をさしてもらいなさい。ちなみに悪魔の目薬は私が持ってんだけど。
Are you guys that different? You need different types of drops? Both reached into her pocket and produced a vial filled with a vivid, ShatteredControllers blue liquid. Felt like the kind of thing that could easily set off a Geiger counter just by being in its vicinity.
ほら、人間のあなたにはイメージ良くないでしょ？これを目にぶち込むのだけはごめんこむりたいな。
It's glowing! Tsurami let out a nervous laugh while pouring a white, faintly glittering drop of the angel medicine into her eyes.
うわー、効いてる。
目をシパシパさせるのは良くないぞ。
眠い。お腹も空いた。
Hungry? You're an angel. You don't need to eat.
ああ、もうそんな時間か。購買でパンでも買ってくるわ。何がいい？
Now, see, I can't believe that these people are actually divine beings when they have the same wants and needs as a human.
結構だ。ただ、もしあるのなら、液状栄養剤をいただ
Liquid
きたい。
diet's bad for you, Setsuna. You'll die. I had no idea whether or not they even had those here, though.
アップルパイ。あと午前の紅茶、アップルティー味。それからリンゴがあれば3つ。
Just don't get the one with the snake by it.
食事は味がついていればもうこの際何でもいいや。あと健康茶買ってきて。健康茶。 はいはい。じゃ、ちょっと待っててね。
And just like that, she casually left the room. Literally a minute later,
ただいま。早っ。
Lilith strolled in, nonchalantly dropping the 4 plastic bags she had been carrying onto the floor.
サンク。
Thankies.
ありがとう。
わーい。いちご丸ごとサンドイッチ。いただきまする。
My bag similarly contains something to meet my needs. A 3,000 calorie pack of high concentration liquid nutrients. I gulped the whole thing down in one go, thus completing my nutritional intake for the day. Stormy was still busy, happily wolfing down her sandwiches. In the meantime, Raziel carefully nibbled away at her apple pie at a steady pace, her expression awash with joy and fulfillment. Having finished the last drop of her tea, Sarami exhaled a drawn-out sigh.
それにしても、空見巻き込まれた割にはほんとタフよね。
That's true, she is.
え、そうかな。
正直言って何もかもを夢だと思い込んで現実逃避してもおかしくないレベルの災難だったと思う。
Sarami rebooted my words with a bold declaration of her own.
いやよそんなの。私は現に生きてるわけだし。そりゃあまあ家族の思い出とか友達の思い出とかどうも綺麗さっぱりなくなってるみたいだけどさ。
Despite that, Sarami's laughter was as cheery as ever. I wasn't sure if I should call it strength of will, or perhaps she simply transcended such worries. At least that's the impression I got.
ま、気を使わなくていいようで何よりだわ。でも安心したらなんだか眠くなってきた。
空見、布団を敷いておくか。
She simply waved her hands my way.
お願い。
I took the futons from the nearby closet and spread them out across the floor, after which Lilith helped Sarami roll under the sheets.
あー、気持ちいいな。あ、そっか。まあ今日はいろいろ疲れただろうし、ゆっくり休みなさいな。目が覚めたら何もかも夢だったらどうしよう。
それはそれで幸せじゃないのだろうか。
そうでもないよ。また誰かに捕まって殺されそうになってたら困るし。
助けるから心配しなくていい。
Oh my. Soon as hitting on me.
また助けに行く。だから心配するな。
My hero. Sarami stared at me round-eyed for a few brief seconds, then pulled her blankets up to her face, mouthing a barely audible thanks. The next moment, Lilith flashed a deeply disturbing smile.
ニヤニヤ。
Don't do that face ever again.
いや、わざわざオノマトペを口に出さなくてもいいと思うのだが。
空見が眠っているのを見ていたら
You're always sleepy.
私も眠たくなってきた。はいはい。じゃあラジエルもおやすみなさい。
Raziel nodded, then buried herself under a layer of thick blankets, which left me and Lilith as the only ones still on their feet.
セツナは眠るの？
私は眠らない。
What? More specifically, I do not actually need sleep. Excluding times of emergency, my body, mind, and nerves are always in a state of rest. Partial sleep would be one way to describe it. I was very much capable of sleep naturally, but I could also technically sit here and wait for the morning to come if I so desired.
まあ夜の魔女っていうくらいだから私も大して睡眠の必要はないんだけどね。
Alrighty. Lilith rose to her feet, changing back to her usual attire in the blink of an eye. She did a gesture towards me with a smile.
どう？ちょっと二人で屋上に出てみない？
屋上で何か見えるのか？
何も見えないし。
Accompanied by an ominous chuckle, Lilith extended a hand towards me, which, following a moment's hesitation, I ultimately took. After carefully closing the window Lilith had left open as she leapt out into the night, I too took to the skies in pursuit. Pandora's exterior was that of an average school building, with one notable exception: its height. A quick glance would estimate the structure to be around 4 or 5 stories tall at most, yet reaching the rooftop took considerably more time than what such a height would normally entail. almost as if the force simply continued on in an endless loop. Since still I never once broke my flight, knowing very well that I would eventually reach the rooftop.
ほら、ちゃんと終わりを意識して飛びなさい。さもないといつまで経っても屋上にたどり着けないわよ。
認識しない限り終わらない。
No wonder the building felt somewhat bigger than I'd expected, even if it did house 100 million people.
そう。ここは実在する空間とは違って物理法則をいじくり回しているんだから、永遠に続くものは永遠に続いてしまうわ。
That's interesting. And with that, I was able to clearly visualize the end through a simple act of calculation. I carefully determined the approximate height of an academic campus fit to accommodate 100 million people. Should probably be pretty fucking tall. Whether or not my calculation was correct did not matter, although I myself was confident in my result. What did matter was the establishment of a set distance, a specific endpoint to be reached. Cutting my way through the dense, freshly accumulated fog, I successfully made my way towards the roof.
はい、確定終了。
I landed on the rooftop around the same time as Lilith, while taking in my surroundings. The place looked awfully ordinary for a building housing roughly 100 million people, and the only difference of note was the lack of any city lights to be seen in the distance. Lilith promptly hopped atop the rooftop fence. Was there even a point to such a thing at a place like this? Making herself comfortable. Fabricated stars glittered upon the canvas of a makeshift sky at seemingly altered locations.
改めて本日はよくやってくれたわ。支配者になりかけていたゲテルを打倒し、くぐつ空見を救ってくれた。
And with that, I'm going to end the video off here, and I will see you all in the next episode of Tokyo Babel. Take it easy.